Welcome to the Even Better podcast, where your host, Sinikka Waugh of Your Clear Next Step, brings you exciting content about making communities better by helping people get even better at work.
Today's episode is brought to you by Your Clear Next Step in the Changemaker Certification Program.
Would you like to save time by solving the right problem sooner with a realistic and measurable plan? Reduce overwhelm by finding more sustainably productive ways to work? Improve employee morale by creating more positive workdays from within? Stay competitive by tightening your turn or increasing your agility in adapting to changing customer demands? If you said yes to those things, then we have the solution for you.
Interested in becoming a changemaker? Give us a call at 515-442-0545.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of the Even Better podcast. This is our ongoing mission here at Your Clear Next Step to help us all have even better workdays so that together we can co-create better communities. I am here today with our guest, Ngozi. Ngozi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, this is going to be so great. I am just thrilled. For those of you who do not know her, Ngozi Igbokwe is a member. I have known her through her role more recently through the ATD Central Iowa chapter, but I have been watching this lady. Man, I've been watching her for a few years, and she is a force to reckon with. She is a force to behold. This is a woman who lives with such intentionality, who is so deliberate and so intentional in what she does and how she shows up that you guys, I am just so excited to have her with us today because she is someone to listen to. And I was so excited when Ngozi said that she would come and be part of this podcast today. And then when she shared her topic, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is it. This is it. She's going to share with us her secret because she's talking today about 5 ways to reclaim your time and energy for what matters most. And I think this is so powerful because as I've been watching Ngozi over these last few years, I've been watching her in the various spaces. Dr. Ngozi Igbokwe. So she's a senior learning and development manager at Bright Horizons. She has this passion that if you spend any time with her, you can't miss the passion. It just shows up. It just comes right off her pores. She helps people grow in their careers, helps them reach their potential. When you're spending time with Ngozi, what you see right away is her ability to help you be your best you. And I love this. She talks about career mobility. She spends time with mentoring. She talks about high potential leadership in addition to her day job. So she's got a day job, and we can talk about her day job and how she does that. But she also spends time. I've known her through ATD Central Iowa. She's right now serving in her role as president-elect for ATD Central Iowa chapter. But she also has served as a board member on One Voice DSM, the International Center. And she does all sorts of other things that she does with leading with intentionality, leading with intention. And she focuses on work and relationships. And this is how she shows up. This isn't just like stuff to listen to. This is how she shows up. And so as you're listening to today's podcast, what the things I want you to listen for, whatever role you're in, whether you are, as you're listening to this episode today, if you're at home and you're spending time at home today with your family, with your kids, whatever you're doing, if you're going through your day and your daily routine in your workplace and you're going through the grind, whatever that grind happens to be, if you're facing your workday and you're like, this is not a grind, this is what I do because this is the career that I have chosen to do and I do it intentionally. I think wherever you find yourself, you're going to hear nuggets today from a woman who has been so intentional about how she spends her time and where she focuses her energy, that when you're in the moment with her, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel this presence because we can't help it. You see it and we're drawn to it. And I hope that you are drawn to this too. And Ngozi, thank you so much for spending this little bit of time with us.
Absolutely. I'm so excited for this conversation.
This is so great. So tell us a little bit about your story. So your background, kind of how you got there and how you came to be so very intentional about what you do.
Absolutely. So I went to high school at Roosevelt High School, which is here in town in Des Moines. From there, I went to Iowa State. I was always a person that never knew what I wanted to do when I grew up. My mind changed all the time. But what I did is I ended up landing at Nationwide Insurance after college, landed at Nationwide Insurance. And I was really drawn to learning about what talent development meant. And so I started my career as a sales agent and slowly began transitioning into that learning and development space. And so from there, my career just took off. I learned about that I'm really passionate about learning and development. And really, it was just from helping new hires at Nationwide. So that really just blew up my career. But what I also realized is that initially I was saying yes to every single thing that came my way. I wanted to get involved. I wanted to make an impact, and I just couldn't say no. But through my career, I really realized now more so in the last, I want to say, few years, is saying yes to the right things matters. And it's not just every opportunity that comes knocking at your door.
Yeah. So I find that so interesting and hope inspiring. The thought that in your high school or perhaps college career or your background that you didn't know what you wanted to do. I think I had this impression of you that you started your life knowing exactly what you wanted to do. So it's a surprise to me that you didn't start that way and that you had to discover that. That's I think that is inspirational to me to know that you didn't start that way and that you discovered it, but that you learned to say yes to the right things. You were saying
Yeah.
yes maybe to too many things.
Yep. I definitely was biting off more than I could chew. I would definitely say that.
Yeah, that's exhausting. A colleague and I were just talking about that this morning. We were talking about some of the things that I have done in my career, and we were pointing back to a moment when I was a bit on the exhausted side, having taken bitten off more than I could chew too. And we're like, yeah, let's don't go back to those days. We don't need that. All
Yeah.
right. So you've got 5 ways for us, 5 things that you've identified that help you reclaim your time and energy for what matters most. So let's dig right in. What's this first one that you're going to talk to us about?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is know what fills your cup. As I mentioned before, I was saying yes to everything. And so I really learned something like taking on if I want to take on a volunteer opportunity or something presents itself, it has to align with my specific values. Now, I have heard from this author named Amina Attai, and she's an executive coach and author, and she talks about 5 things that are needed to really determine if it's worth your time. And so she said that it has to honor your gift. It has to be values aligned. It has to be connected to the thing that we want to make an impact on. It has to foster a sense of commitment, and it has to meet our needs. And I was like, yes, that is so true. If I'm going to spend my time and energy away from my family, away from my friends, it has to be something that aligns with my values. And that checklist was really a way that I could narrow down what I wanted to say yes to. And so I've been using that ever since, and it's been really, really beneficial for me. So I encourage you on the call that are listening, try it and see what it's like.
Yeah. So, and you talk about as you started this, you said what fills your cup. So, how do you recognize that something is filling your cup? What's that look like for you? How does that show up for you?
Yeah, if it's something that brings me happiness. So if I'm doing something that's impactful, so like for example, the mentoring program that I'm a part of, it's helping students with their careers, with leadership, and so that's really what fills my cup. It's aligned with my values. And so it's not something that's draining. So I don't go to the mentoring sessions thinking, "Oh, this is something else I got to do." I'm energized, I'm excited to be there. I love seeing the students' face light up when they learn something. So that is what fills my cup. And so there's what we call energy savers and energy drainers. And so it's definitely an energy saver, not necessarily a drainer.
Yeah. I was thinking about that this morning in a related conversation that there's been some stuff that's sort of missing in my life right now. And when it's an energy saver and you notice that you're not doing it, right? There's the opposite. If you're not doing you miss it. And so
Mm-hmm.
wait, I want more of that. It's something that you want more of. Whereas
Yes.
if it's an energy drainer, you're like, ugh, no, I don't want any of that. Get rid of that thing. Yeah. Okay. So you know what fills your cup, and that involves paying attention. So if we're going to pay attention to that stuff, we're going to we need to be self-aware. We need to this requires a level of emotional intelligence, right? We got to pay attention to what's going on in our body. We got to pay attention to the moment, maybe some journaling, maybe some hey, what was I doing with my face during that meeting? Did you notice me
Yes.
scrolling and checking out? What have you heard me say? Maybe asking a friend, phone a friend for that one. But certainly paying attention. Okay, so what's next? After we know what fills our cup, then
Yes.
where do we go from there?
So take a look at your time. Do you have time to dedicate to this extra thing that you want to do? And again, this could be volunteer work, this could be a job, this could be family. It doesn't have to necessarily be tied to work, but do you have the bandwidth? Is it going to take you away from time with your family? And also, don't think that you have to fill your whole day with something extra. So, again, take some time to rest. Make sure you're building in that time too. But really, it comes down to, do you have the bandwidth to do it? If the answer is no, then that means that that's not something that you probably want to spend time doing.
Okay, we got to sit with this one. We got to hang out here. We're not going to be able to race just by this one. So take an honest look at your time. So time is one of those things that I think many of us just assume that we'll just make more. We'll just create more. It'll just fit. We'll just it doesn't go, you make it go. It doesn't fit, you make it fit. So how do you have any stories? Do you have any examples, Ngozi, of how you any failures, any time that you tried to make something fit and it didn't fit, or any examples where you went, okay, this one really doesn't fit, and I honestly learned that this one didn't fit, and I was successful at cutting this one out. Do you have any tales of success or failure, one or the other, that we can learn from on this one?
Yeah, I have several. In fact, it's kind of a recurring theme for me. But recently, I was tapped to get involved with an organization. I don't want to say any names of the organization, but I was asked to do a little bit more than I was comfortable with. And so I had to really take time to see, does this align with the 5 things that I learned about if it's worth my time? And the answer was no, but it was a really great opportunity. And so I had to really think about it and say, you know what, this doesn't align with what I'm looking for, so I have to say no. And I was sad about it for a little bit, but the good thing is that I didn't have the extra stress. I wasn't overworked. I didn't feel drained. I was able to spend more time doing things that I truly enjoyed. And it also opened space for me to take on other opportunities that actually did fill my cup and things that were of value to me. So long story short, it might hurt in the short term, but in the long term, something else might pop up that you would love even more than that opportunity.
You bet. So there was a time when my kids my older one got into high school. So just before her freshman year of high school, I had been very, very active on the local boards of 2 service organizations, professional associations, with which I align firmly. I believe in them. I support the organizations. I believe in them with all my heart. Like they're doing good work. And I had been pretty active with both of them up until that time. And then as my kids entered high school, my older one was just about to start her freshman year. I realized that there just wasn't going to be enough time, right? They're meeting Tuesday nights, Monday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, and there were kids concerts, there were band concerts, there were marching band, there were plays and whatnot. There's all this stuff, and high school kids get so crazy active. And we lived out in the country at the time, and the kids didn't have driver's license for whatever reasons at the time. Early years, they just don't drive yet. And so we had there was this toing and froing and youth group and all this stuff. And so I made this decision that I simply don't have time while my kids are in high school, and they were 2 years apart. So now we're looking at a 6-year window. While my kids are in high school, I will not serve in a leadership role on those boards. I appreciate them. I support them. I love them. I'll still go. I'll still participate. I'll engage, but I will not serve in a leadership role on these organizations while my kids are in high school. And I remember thinking, this is going to kill me. This is going to absolutely I'm
I
giving
can
up something
understand
that
that.
I really do believe in, but I honestly don't have time. And for those 6 years, I just didn't. And to the point that you just made about, but I didn't have the stress, and I didn't have the extra pain and all that stuff that I didn't have. It allowed me to invest in my kids and to be able to show up for them and to freely um, go to those concerts and drive them around and take them to driver's ed and do all the things that I needed to do, so that then when they got out of high school, then I could figure out, okay, now where am I going to invest my time? What makes sense for me now? Oh,
Exactly. And those are times that you'll never get back either. So sometimes they're hard decisions, but they're definitely worth it.
it was absolutely the right thing to do. I wouldn't trade a second of it in. And I remember how hard the decision was at the moment, but absolutely wouldn't trade a second of it in. Just finding, because there just aren't, you'll never get those days back. Never get those days
Yeah.
back. Yep.
I
Okay.
agree.
So let's move on to number 3. Where do we go from here? So first we figure out, so number 1 was to figure out what fills your cup. So what is it that we love to do? What is it that energizes us and doesn't drain us? And then number 2 was take an honest look at our time. What do we really have time for? So then what do we do?
Yes. So get comfortable saying no. And I would definitely say that I am still learning this. So I have done better at it, but I'm in the spirit of learning. I'm still learning this. So get comfortable saying no and as a complete sentence. So say no, and that's the end of the sentence. I think that is the key. Yes, one thing is to say no and say, this is the reason why I'm saying no, because number 1, number 2, number 3, but nobody really needs an explanation. This is your time that you're investing in whatever the opportunity is or whatever the situation might be. And so nobody really needs to know what that reason is. And, people are going to be comfortable saying no to you for opportunities. So we need to be comfortable doing the same.
Man, that's hard. So as you have practiced this, what has made this get easier for you? You said you're still learning, and I honor that. I think so many of us are still learning that, because there's a piece of us that wants to please, right? We're people pleasers out
Yes.
there. And
Yep.
so we want to say yes, or we want to justify it, or we want to make others understand why we don't want to let them down. We're Iowa nice. We're Midwest nice. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, or we want them to understand where we're coming from. What's made it easier for you to use no as a complete sentence? What have been some of your tricks?
I think as I'm getting older, and I realize that I value my time more than I did before. If nothing is worth your mental health, if it's not going to fill your cup, and it's not gonna be impactful to you, what's the reason for saying yes? Like, is it because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings? Like, you got to think about what is the root cause that you're saying yes to all these things, and then really do that inner work to say, why am I always trying to say yes to everything? Do I feel like I need to be queen of the world and say yes to all these opportunities? But really it comes down to myself, and I need to be selfish with my time. And sometimes people just, they have a hard time with just saying no.
And it's easy to say yes if we know that it fills our cup and that we have time for it, then the
Absolutely.
yes is easy. I think somewhere along the line, one of the other thing that was helpful for me was saying no. Somewhere along the line, one of my friends used a description that said, when I say yes to something that I shouldn't say yes to, if it's not going to fill my cup, if it's not the right thing for me and I don't really have time for it, what I'm actually doing is I'm depriving someone else of their opportunity to say yes. So if I said yes and it wasn't for me, that was an opportunity that was intended for someone else. And I've just taken that away from someone else. And that's pretty rotten of me. And so when I think of it that way, then it's easier to just say, well, no, no, because maybe
Absolutely.
that's not mine. That's not mine to say.
Somebody else. And if you're taking on all these additional opportunities, you're spreading yourself so thin. And so you can't really put your full time and energy into whatever that is, because you're just doing a little bit of it when somebody could be giving 100% of themselves to that opportunity.
Yeah, I could do such a better job if I just say yes to a couple of things or 1 or 2 things instead of 17.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay, so we got to get better at saying no, or let's practice it. Let's just say no. No.
Easier said than done, right?
Oh man, it's so hard. It's so hard. All right, so then where do we go? Talk to me about this 4th one. What's next from there?
Yes. So the fourth one is creating energy rules. So what I mean by that is building in small, consistent habits that you can do. So, for example, thinking like, when is the time that you're energized the most? Do things that are aligned with that time that will give you the most energy. And so for me, I tend to focus on high project or high workloads, things like that in the morning, because that's when I'm the most energized. And so I think building in small things like that really help you prioritize your time. I also do something called No Meeting Fridays, where I dedicate Fridays to really focusing on things that I need to do for work. And so sometimes I still do schedule some meetings on Fridays, but for the most part, I try to keep those pretty open.
Nice. Okay, so energy rituals. This is what you call these energy rituals. So let's talk about that word ritual. So the idea of a ritual is that it's something that you do consistently. It's a routine. It's a ritual. There's a process to it, and that it's more than let's break apart the difference between routine and ritual. So routine, when you're in a routine, your mind almost goes numb because you're like you go through the routine and you don't even think about it anymore because it's rote, it's habit. You get to the end of it and you're like, did I even do that? I don't even remember if I did that because it's so habit forming. But a ritual is almost more that's more present. I'm in the moment. I'm aware of it. I'm conscious of it. So I'm going to break apart the word. So you've used the word create energy rituals. I love that. So ritual, that's intentional. So there's that intentionality coming through again, because I just love that about you. So we'll talk about this energy rituals. So there's intentionality to it. It's intentional and we're doing that. You also said something about small. Why small? Why is that important?
Because I think if we take on any more of that, it becomes more of an energy drainer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say small because it gives us small bite sized chunks of time to do something. And then it doesn't feel like a task or a chore or something extra. So you take 15 minutes to recharge or do meditation in the morning or whatever it is that might be beneficial to you. It's better to do that. And it's something that is more manageable for people.
You bet. You bet. So these are things like in your morning habits. These might be the planning or the journaling or a reflection, midday break. Again, could be journaling, could be reflection, could be a midday walk, a walk with another person, a conversation that you have. But it's a routine. It's a ritual, but that's consistent. So we do it on a regular basis, and we do it in a thoughtful way, and it's kind of short and sparks something in our brain that causes us to do something deliberate.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so this also seems to require knowing ourselves. That we've got some self-awareness here because you described as well some things that you do in the morning, some things you do in the mid-afternoon. You talked about your Fridays as your Friday focus day, or when you do your focus work. Some of us are better in the mornings. Some of us are better after our second cup of coffee. Some of us need that high energy, right? Some of us are night owls. Kind of depends on who you are and when and where you work, right? So it self-awareness, again, being aware of who you are
Absolutely.
and when and how you show up. We also probably need some self-management tips. How did you get good at this? What was your how did you learn this? How did you practice at this? What tools did you use to get going at this, Ngozi?
Yeah. I think I learned this by failure. So before I was taking on too much stuff, and I was like, you know what? I think I need to figure out a way that I can reduce this because I'm burnt out. I feel drained at the end of the day. I don't feel like I have time for myself. And so started doing a little bit of reading and research and thought, okay, if this worked for this person, maybe it'll work for me. And so then I just slowly started implementing it and I saw results. I felt more refreshed at the end of the day. I was able to show up better for my colleagues and coworkers and my family members. And so that's what kept me going is that I was seeing the results. It was one thing just to hear about it, but actually seeing the results at the end of the day. And I was showing up better for people. I was like, yes, I'm going to continue doing this. It's a no brainer.
Right?
So that's really what kept me doing this. And it took a while to get there. It's easier said than done. But if you really are intentional about doing this, it'll work. You just got to give it some time.
You bet. And this is another place where I would recommend something like journaling or record keeping or tracking or something, especially since, as you described, when you see those results, it's one thing to see the results on a daily basis, but if you're tracking those results and you're saying, look, I was better, like I was more refreshed on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks in a row now. Holy smokes, this is really like, this isn't just my imagination. There's a documented pattern here. This is really working. Then you have this evidence that allows you to keep going. And then it's you take the intentionality and then you've got the measured results that show you this thing really does work.
Absolutely. I would definitely agree with that. And for me, I'm really hesitant to try things because I don't want to fail. That's one thing about me, is that I only try to do things that I know I'm going to succeed at. But after seeing the results, I was like, I just have to keep going. I can't go back now. I just got to keep going.
I love it. I love it. All right, so we're on to number 5. Before we get there, let me see if I can go back. So we got to know what fills our cup. So what is it that what is it that lifts us up? What is it that makes us light up? And going back to Amina Atai, was that okay? Amina
Yes.
Atai and her 5 things. Okay, so take an honest look at your time. We got to make sure we understand what really fits. Get comfortable saying no. Create those energy rituals. That was number 4, and now we're on to number 5. What is number 5?
Protect your boundaries. And so it's really a accumulation of everything. So be clear about how and when you work best. So I think that's another one. And then also adding on to those rituals, those no meeting Fridays. So really it's a holistic accumulation of everything that we talked about, all 5 of the things that we talked about today. At the end of the day, it's just protecting your energy, protecting your peace, and aligning with what matters most to you.
Yeah, you bet. So if 1 through 4 are like drawing those boxes, right? What is it that fills my cup? And then we create okay, where's my time? And can I say no? And then what are my rituals? So I'm putting these boxes around to protect my time so that I can really invest my time and invest my energy in what matters. I've created this framework, if you will. The people who are listening can't see me draw with my hands, but I'm drawing with my hands. So I've created this box around me. So I've put this box, not to put myself in a box, but I've created a framework. And if 1 through 4 are putting the framework around that, then 5 is like let's protect that framework. Let's protect those boundaries. Let's make sure we don't let that wall fall down. Let's make sure that we've got those no meeting Fridays, for example. Let's make sure that we do understand our best working times. Let's make sure that we are really doing what we said we would do. Right? Is that am I hearing you right?
Absolutely. I would definitely say that box is kind of like yourself in a way. And so protecting your boundaries is kind of the circle that goes around all of that.
Yeah. Let's just make sure it doesn't fall apart. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Oh, and Ngozi, this is so great. Okay, so have you had an experience where those boundaries got broken or something poked through and then you had pain and you had to fix it again?
Yeah, I would say that if we think about it as a balloon, I would say that a pin has popped that balloon. But the thing is that the balloon didn't drain all the way. And so there has been times where I've been tested with my time, and I really had to make some hard decisions to say, no, this isn't for me. And getting comfortable saying no as a complete sentence has definitely helped put a band-aid over that hole. And some other things, other strategies that I've learned along the way. But I would definitely say, yes, there's been many, many situations where I've had to really protect my boundaries, and I'm still learning. I'm not an expert at all. But these 5 steps has really helped me become more intentional with my time and be able to give more of my time to where I really want to give the energy to.
I love it. I love it. And nowhere in here did you say, let's hang out doom scrolling all the time.
That is true.
So apparently that's not how we should spend our time, huh?
No. Although doom scrolling once in a while is okay.
Once in a while. Fair enough. Oh, I love it. I love it. So this would not be the Even Better podcast if I did not ask my trademark question, which is what's making you even better these days, Ngozi?
Yeah. I would say what's making me better is seeing the impact that I'm making in the organizations that I am involved in and where I'm spending my time and energy. So the mentoring program that fills my bucket, ATD Central Iowa, that definitely fills my bucket and aligns with the goals that I have for myself. So those two things are really what's filling my time and energy, and where I think I'm adding really good value.
I love it. I love it. Well, and this is part of the idea of making better communities, right? And returning business value when we can reclaim our time and energy, and instead of just sitting there doing nothing or wasting time or allowing ourselves to take on more than we can possibly handle, so that we burn out or so we get frustrated or so that we are not showing up as our best selves, we're not contributing. We're not when we're not intentional, we're not returning the business value that we could. We're not contributing to our communities, making communities better in the best way possible. But if we do reclaim our time and our energy for what matters most, we can show up as our best authentic selves, and then we can make the difference. And Ngozi, I believe that the way that you show up as you for ATD is the best you that can possibly be. Nobody else can do what you can do as you. There are other people who can be them, but no one else can do what you can do. And so when you show up and say, I'm going to be authentically and intentionally me, that richness that you bring to the table, that intentionality that you bring is so valuable and is so critical that if we only got half of you or only got a fraction of you or a part of you, that would be a loss. It wouldn't be as great. And so I love that you are able to be deliberate and intentional about this because you shine, lady. You rock.
Thank you so much. And again, it took me some time to get to this place. Wasn't always easy. A lot of internal work, self-awareness was done, but it definitely can happen for you too, or for anybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. These are things that are all doable. And this is what I love about what you offer here is this is all stuff that we can do. There's no no magic sauce required. This is discipline, this is self-awareness, this is being intentional, this is being deliberate, and we can all do this. So thank you.
I agree.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a real pleasure.
This has been great. And for those of you who are listening, thank you so much for making time. And I hope you got something out of this. Pause this one, rewind it back, listen to this one again and again and again, because I think you'll continue to take good nuggets out of this one over and over and over again. Thanks so much for listening. And on behalf of all of us here at Your Clear Next Step, we hope the rest of your day is even better.
Thank you for tuning in today. The Even Better podcast will be back with more content soon. But in the meantime, subscribe to our podcast or check out our website at yourclearnextstep.com for more information. See you next episode.